Sup? So today somebody asked me to play what the hell was it called? Beaks. I was right the first time. So this is a crappy cash grab game, more reminiscent of Fish. What a surprise. It was created on the 16th of January, so not hugely surprising. And I suppose you could play this if you really like the idea of shooting birds, but don't want to feel bad about it because you only shoot them with darts to knock them out, I guess. I don't know. Let's be real here. The guy who recommended me this was really hoping that I would just come on and yell and scream a lot. And I don't have the energy for that today, so not in the mood. But what is there to say about this that you don't already expect? I suppose I could talk about the problems with the game, which is the whole thing. So sure, why don't we do that? Problem number one, level lock, level lock, level lock some more. All of the progression is level locked, which is just absolutely fantastic. I love when everything is level locked and the game is directly designed to waste my time. That way they can get money out of me via premium payouts. Not that I would ever accuse the people behind this of making a game designed to waste people's time in order to cash in off of premium payouts. I can't imagine that they would ever try to do that, but that is 1000% what these games are designed to do, and this game is no different. Now, in terms of the weapons, you would probably assume that this is a good chance to make the game interesting, right? Because unlike Fish, this is a shooter game. So rather than the mini game being, well, just copy-pasted directly from Stardew Valley, this one is copy-pasted from every shooting game under the sun because, well, you point the gun at the bird and you press the shoot button. Very difficult, I know. But the thing that can make this tricky is that your weapons shoot projectiles. So obviously if the target is further away, then you're gonna have to lead the shot, which makes things a little bit more difficult. And when you factor in that the more quote-unquote difficult enemies to get, or enemies, who am I kidding? These aren't enemies. Glorified Souls RNG auras that fly around. If you think that the harder ones are harder to get, it's not really that they're necessarily more difficult, they just take more shots to bring down. And generally speaking are also further away. Now, that doesn't stop the very first gun in the game from being able to bring them down, it's just gonna take you a long time. Now, when we talk about shooting mechanics, there's not really a whole lot I can say here because in a lot of ways, shooting is a little hard to screw up. That said, the people behind Beaks still managed to screw it up because of course they did. The most obvious and easy to identify is the fact that when you decide to zoom in, your sensitivity scrolls down to a crawl and there's no setting to turn it off or adjust the sensitivity at all. And we all know how I feel about games that fuck with your sensitivity. One of the most obnoxious things about this game is that the birds don't obey the laws of physics, which, to be fair, I don't expect the birds to obey the laws of physics. That said, when the birds are capable of phasing through the trees, but your bullets are not, then that sort of becomes a problem and can get pretty frustrating pretty quick. Especially when you consider that some of the smaller birds in the game, which like to land on trees, can phase through the tree in order to try to land on a branch that's on the other side of the tree that it's going towards. When you're shooting at it and then you just can't shoot it anymore because, surprise, surprise, it phases through the tree but you can't, that's a problem, a large one. While we're on the topic of birds, we can talk about their AI, or lack of AI, which I think in this case is probably a blessing. The AI reacts to getting shot, so it's not like they're just sitting there waiting to shoot you. That said, when they do react to getting shot, it sort of just beelines to the nearest branch and then lands again, even if you were just shooting it 2 seconds earlier. On top of that, the birds don't appear to really do much of any evasive maneuvers when they're getting shot, which means that a lot of the time you can just sort of predict the path of movement and shoot in that straight line to continuously deal damage. Now, like I said, this is more of a blessing than a curse, even though it probably doesn't sound like it, because a lot of the enemies, I'm calling them enemies again, good God, a lot of the Souls RNG auras that are flying around in this game can take like 8 bajillion shots to bring down. So if they did do evasives, I'd probably want to jump off the nearest bridge. They may have been able to make this more interesting if the weapons in the game were more accessible, but yeah, no, level lock, shove it up your ass. The first weapon in the game you can get at level 5, and it costs like $1,000, I think, or something. The next weapon you unlock is at level 10, and it costs $7,500. you are far more likely to hit the next level than you are to get enough money to afford the second gun, which in some cases, I guess you could grasp at straws and say that it means the progression might not necessarily be more linear in nature, but let's be real, this is actually just designed to try to fool idiots into paying money to get enough money to buy the next gun, so that way they don't have to waste as much time, which if you were thinking about doing that, I would then decide to ask you, why are you playing this to begin with if you weren't planning on wasting all of your time? Now, as I mentioned earlier, the weapons in the game don't have a whole lot of variety. At the very least, the first two in the game don't, because they are exact clones of each other, with the second gun doing more damage. Whoop-de-doo. Now, granted, the third gun in the game said it was a shotgun, and I have to hope that the shotgun actually acts like a shotgun and isn't just another clone of the second gun in the game. But I don't know if that's the case, and if you think I could be bothered to check, oh boy, you've got another thing coming. That said, even if the shotgun did work like a shotgun, I can't imagine a shotgun being unbelievably helpful in a game like this, where most of the rarer things are really high up. So what good is a shotgun when the thing you're shooting at is a mile away? Not sure, maybe I'm wrong on this one, and you'll be thoroughly surprised to hear that I don't give a shit if I am. The other baseline mechanic of the game is equally as stupid, and that's your darts. You see, if you go to a shop in any of the little towns in the game, you can pay the shopkeeper there to get a random assortment of darts, because everything has to be random. Of course. At least the bait in these fishing games, or at least the ones that I was playing, you could pick what bait you bought. But in here, you don't even get that luxury. It's random, go figure. So you can go to these shops, pay some money, set yourself even further back from potentially getting a new gun that costs way too much, and you get a bunch of consumable items that are used upon firing the dart. Well, if you're looking at the gameplay that I have on screen right now, you can probably imagine just how goddamn useless it would be to have a bunch of consumable items when it takes me like over 100 rounds to bring something down. What good is a dart that increases my damage if it's already gonna take this long and it's so far away that I'm almost guaranteed to miss roughly 25 to 50% of my shots? If I have 8 darts and I only land 4 of them, then what the hell was even the point? Oh good, I saved myself a little bit of time and threw my money down the drain. The fact that you can buy weapons which are permanent or darts which are consumables, it's like the logic there is so flawed with how it works in the game, it's incredible. Now, I haven't really talked too much about the Flying Souls RNG auras that you'll be shooting, so I guess we should talk about how that generally works. So, every Souls RNG aura that's flying around has a rarity tied to it. Surprise, surprise, we're doing the 1 in 10, 1 in 1 million, 1 in 200 trillion nonsense that all of these games slap on after Souls popularized it. Now, every aura has its own little, chance applied to it, but on top of that chance, there's also a chance that it can spawn with some sort of modifier. Now, the modifier, as far as I could tell, was literally just a skin applied to the Souls RNG aura and not actually something that does anything, which makes me question what the hell the point was, but the point was to waste your time, so I don't even know why I would ask that. Once again, this is one of those areas where they could have made something interesting, like making it so that way the different rarities of birds had some sort of difference in the gameplay that you do in order to capture them, perhaps, but no, just slap a skin on there, make it so there's a little algorithm to change the parts of each individual bird in the game, so that way it has a different colored skin, and call it a day. Wrap things up, we're good, waste people's time. Who am I kidding? This game has 4.8 million visits. They've probably made like $100,000 plus by now. Now, the final thing that probably should have been a positive, but they still managed to fuck it up, is the hit feedback when you hit the birds in question. I'll give them credit for making it so that way when you hit the birds, they make a sound, and there's a little flashing of red to make it clear that you've hit the bird you're trying to shoot at, along with showing the health bar of whatever you're shooting at and how rare it is. All of that is a nice little attention to detail and quality of life thing that's greatly appreciated. That said, someone decided that they ran out of time or ran out of budget, despite this game surely making bank and there basically being nothing here when it comes to the sounds that the birds make when you hit them. Because while some of them have unique sounds, a lot of them just appear to not. And so they reuse the same sound like 15 times. And I just have to be like, if you only have 30 things in the game, you couldn't come up with 30 sound effects? You couldn't have made something up? Like, come on, guys, bird samples are out there, I'm sure, but you just that creatively bankrupt? What's going on here? Don't answer that. Please don't answer that. I know exactly what's going on here. Anyways, I mean, that's bird RNG. Yeah, I got nothing. That's it.